What exactly could you see in that surveillance video?
I could see what looked like a person slumped over to the side inside of that car.
Grainy images captured the suspect fleeing the scene of the crime.
Her headlights were still on and the headlights were actually facing the camera system. I lost sight of them and you couldn't see anything else at that point.
Police searching for answers.
Step out with your hands up! Hands on your head! Hands up! Step out with your hands up!
He begins insulting her and berating her. He tells her to have fun while she can.
It ends as he's at her driver's side door.
She made a Snapchat video before he began firing into the window of her locked car.
Hi, I'm Nancy O'Dell, and today's Crime Exposé takes us to Walterboro, South Carolina. 50 miles west of Charleston, a horrific homicide shocks a small town to its core. Known as the front porch of the Lowcountry, this quiet community was catapulted into headlines when the sound of gunshots turned a sleepy residential area into the scene of a tragic murder. Investigators left no stone unturned when tracking down their suspect, but it was ultimately a clue left by the victim that would tear the case wide open. It was a warm May 22nd night when police received a call from an off-duty officer.
Consonant Dispatch.
Hey, it's Ross. I just had about 9 gunshots back behind my building. Stepping outside right now to try to find out what's going on.
Sergeant Ross Hance was in his apartment watching TV with his wife at roughly 10 p.m. when he jumped into action. What was your reaction to hearing gunshots at home while you were relaxing?
While I called 911, I started grabbing my vest, my firearm, my police radio, and a flashlight, and went outside to begin looking for the source of where the gunshots came from.
Within minutes, the sound of police sirens could be heard approaching the scene.
Other officers began to arrive on scene, and the flashlight that I had started going dim, so I decided to go out to my patrol car to get the flashlight out of my patrol car.
As Sergeant Hance looked for his flashlight, he came across an unforgettable sight.
And as I looked across out my driver's side window to the Lexus parked next to mine, I could see what looked like a person slumped over to the side, and there were a number of bullet holes in the front driver's side window.
The engine of the silver Lexus was still running. The doors were locked and the headlights were on.
We were able to use a lockout kit to gain access to the inside of the car from the passenger side.
But there was nothing they could do to save the young woman. She had been shot 4 times and was pronounced dead at the scene.
It was the gunshot wound to the neck that proved fatal immediately.
The motive for the crime wasn't immediately clear. Inside the car, investigators found the victim's wallet and cell phone.
When we identified the female in the car as Denasia Holloway, the resident of that complex,
Investigators collected any evidence they could find from the area, including 6 shell casings found just outside of the car.
a lot of the prints I may have lifted may have been from first responders trying to gain access to a locked vehicle.
Several people heard the gunshots, but few reported seeing anything.
There's at least one witness stating that they saw an individual. They stated they believed it to be a black man.
Grainy surveillance video collected from the apartment complex could not prove or disprove the eyewitness account. So could you see anything in the surveillance video?
Lucky for us, we were able to see Miss Holloway enter the complex, followed closely by another vehicle. The vehicle following her takes a left into the first parking area.
Investigators could not clearly see the car trailing Denasia's.
From the distance of the headlights and the taillights, it looked like a pickup, but because of how dark it was and there was no street lighting in that area, couldn't tell any sort of a make or model of the truck.
The unknown car parks across the street from the entrance to the apartment complex near the mailboxes.
He parked in a darker place away from the apartment buildings.
The silver Lexus backs into the parking spot next to Sergeant Hance's patrol car, but the driver does not exit the vehicle. However, police could see a man walking nearby.
It turns out it's not, in fact, a black male. It was a white male, about average height, kind of a stocky build.
The grainy footage made it impossible to discern facial features, but police noted his appearance.
Thick hair, some kind of beard or mask, and looked to be wearing dark pants, dark shirt.
The mysterious man first walks towards the building Denasia lived in.
The individual stands there briefly looking towards the parking lot between the 200 and 300 building, and from there he comes around onto the main sidewalk, and you can see where he approaches her vehicle. He gets to her vehicle due to the fact that her headlights were still on and the headlights were actually facing the camera system. I lost sight of him and you couldn't see anything else at that point.
Less than 10 minutes later, the cameras capture activity again.
There was approximately a 7-minute time frame, and then after that 7-minute frame, you can see that same male running from the direction of her car and runs back across in front of the office to the complex and runs back over to where the vehicle had parked by the mailboxes. And then you see that vehicle start up, the headlights actually come on, backs out, and then you see the taillights exit out of the apartment complex.
Whoever had shot Denasia Holloway appeared to have known her.
Step out with your hands up.
Police interviewed Denasia's ex-boyfriend.
When I did bring up that Denasia had been shot, he had put his head down in his hands.
22-year-old Denasia Holloway had been the bright light of her parents' lives. The oldest of three, she had her whole life ahead of her.
She was an independent woman, and she was very close with her family and her mother in particular.
Police learned Denasia had driven back to Walterboro from a holiday trip to Fort Lauderdale, Florida on the night she was murdered. She had a new man in her life, but she confided to her mother that she was still worried about her ex-boyfriend. They had broken up months ago, but he had not been able to move on.
Through a prior report which had a domestic violence call, and the offender in that case was Mr. Justin Carroll.
Denasia had obtained a no-contact order against Carroll, which immediately put him in the crosshairs of the investigation.
Through his DMV information, he had a local address. We went to that address, spoke with family.
Carroll was out of town at the time, but agreed to speak with investigators. Where was Carroll when police finally spoke with him?
He was coming from the Charleston area and was making his way back to Walterboro.
Roughly 4 hours after the murder, the Colleton County Sheriff's Office located Carroll.
When he comes back into town, the Colleton County Sheriff's Office does make contact with him and initiate a traffic stop on him.
Step out with your hands up. Hands on your head. Turn around. Walk to my voice. Go down to your knees. Lay flat on your stomach. Hands out in front of you.
At this point, we took him into our investigations unit for an interview.
Carroll was cooperative with the investigators and walked them through his evening.
He had said he had worked at his job, and then he and his friend went to the Charleston area.
Carroll was not able to provide police with specific details.
He had told me that they didn't really go anywhere, they just driving around. I had no way of verifying where he was.
Corporal Shipp decided to break the news of Denasia's murder to him.
When I did bring up that Denasia had been shot, he had put his head down in his hands. It was at this time I noticed that, Mr. Carroll had a shaved head. He had no hair on his head.
It was a stark contrast to what police had seen in the surveillance video.
I had noticed that video we saw an individual with pretty good thick hair on his head.
Shipp was hoping the news of Denasia's death would elicit a new lead from Carroll, something to move the case forward. But it actually did just the opposite.
The further the interview went on, Mr. Carroll, especially after being advised of Ms. Denasia's passing, decided that he wanted to end the interview and seek a lawyer.
Were you able to test his hands for gun residue that night?
I asked him if he would consent to a GSR kit with his gunshot residue kit. He consented, and I went ahead and tested his hands, and that kit got sent off to SLED, which is the State Law Enforcement Division for South Carolina.
A cursory glance at Carroll's phone seemed to confirm his alibi.
There was evidence that placed him moving towards Charleston.
And with no physical evidence tying him to the crime, police released him.
I had to release him because at the time I just had a previous report where he's listed as an offender in a domestic violence report. That officer stumbled upon a video that was time-stamped for the time of the offense that showed Denasia in her vehicle. It ends as he's at her driver's side door.
Walterboro police had just released Justin Cole Carroll, but a stunning new piece of evidence was about to blow the case wide open.
We seized his phone and his truck and subsequently did search warrants to search both.
So did you find anything that helped move the case forward?
So upon the search of the truck, I was advised that the truck had nothing in it.
That it was extremely clean. It did not even contain a piece of paper in it.
After seizing Carroll's phone, police noted that its call history had been erased.
Initially, there was nothing that we could see, like phone call log-wise or text message-wise. The phone was essentially wiped clean of a lot of information.
But analysts were still able to extract significant data.
So the phone records revealed that there's almost no logs of calls, messages, but it did give pings in the area of the Forest Point Apartments during the time that Denasia was shot.
It was a promising lead, but not enough to issue an arrest warrant. Police turned to Denasia's phone for more leads.
Investigators got in touch with her current boyfriend, who was able to give them her passcode.
At this moment, the officer that unlocked the phone looked into just anything, just messages, call logs.
Her text messages offered insight into her volatile relationship with Carroll.
He was supposed to have no contact with Denasia, but he continued to contact her and, in fact, was text messaging her while she was on a trip out of town in Florida.
The text at first appeared cordial.
They started out nice enough. He obviously still had feelings for her and love for her, and he was texting that to her.
But when Denasia didn't respond right away, he became increasingly impatient.
He continues to reach out, I think, probably around 7 times the week before the murder, and is not getting any answer from her.
Carroll's tone became menacing when he learned Denasia was out of town.
Eventually, she says, "I'm in Fort Lauderdale," and he, starts in with, "Well, who are you with? What are you doing?" She's saying she's on vacation, she's with a new guy, and they just deteriorate from there.
And the text ended on an ominous tone.
He begins insulting her and berating her and tells her to have fun while she can. And that's just a few days before she gets back from this trip.
Police then searched Denasia's photos and videos and found a stunning new piece of evidence.
That officer stumbled upon a video that was time-stamped for the time of the offense that showed Denasia in her vehicle, sitting in her vehicle in the same spot that she was parked in at the Forest Point Apartments.
The clip showed the same stocky man from the surveillance video approaching her car.
You could tell it's taken from the point of view of the driver's seat. You see a white male approach the vehicle. That white male, as he approaches, I could identify at this point as Justin Carroll.
Carroll had a lit cigarette in his hand, and police noted he had tried to alter his appearance after the crime.
That video also shows Mr. Carroll with a full head of hair. It's not shaved. As he approaches the vehicle, he does have a mask and he pulls it up over his face.
Donasia's video included a caption that read like a plea for help.
She had asked this behavior to stop, that he had followed her into her apartment complex, and this was ridiculous and it just had to stop. That was mere minutes before he began firing into the closed window of her locked car.
The video does last maybe 10 seconds or so. It ends as he's at her driver's side door.
What was your reaction to seeing the video?
It was something else. It was a sense of relief in the fact that we could identify the shooter at this point. Once I've got him identified, that gives me the probable cause to charge him with the murder of Donasia Holloway.
What were the results of the gunpowder residue test?
It showed that Mr. Carroll did have a particle for gunshot, consistent with gunshot residue on his right hand.
The Snapchat video gave prosecutor Hunter Swanson a unique advantage.
Something that we never have in a domestic homicide case, because these cases really involve a lot of what goes on behind closed doors. The Snapchat video was really a window into what was going on just moments before Donasia's horrible murder. And so that was the best evidence.
In her closing statements, Swanson made sure the jury had no doubt about Carroll's guilt.
And I told the jury that in this case, Donasia was able to be heard from the grave. And she told that jury who did this. And she ended up being her best advocate in that moment when she was videotaping him.
The jury deliberated for 23 minutes before returning a guilty verdict. And 24-year-old Justin Cole Carroll was sentenced to 60 years in prison for Donasia Holloway's murder. Donasia Holloway's parents have said they did everything they could to protect their only daughter. They blocked Carroll on social media, changed Donasia's phone number several times, let her stay at their home, and even reached out to Carroll's family. The parents said her senseless murder has given them a life sentence of pain. And now it's time for today's Safety Spotlight. Donasia Holloway was a young woman in the prime of her life when she was stalked and brutally killed by an abusive ex-boyfriend. Protective orders can sometimes be an effective tool, but for those with a truly unhealthy fixation on someone, it may not deter them. How quickly you react could be the difference between life and death. If you see the person anywhere within the parameters of the order, remove yourself from the danger zone. Drive to a safe place, like the nearest police station. And while en route, dial 911 and alert law enforcement in the event you are being followed. You also don't have to handle this alone. It's important to lean on family and support groups. They can offer emotional aid and practical advice. Seek the help of therapists or counselors who can provide guidance on managing relationship issues and personal safety. And if you are in an abusive relationship, call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE or visit thehotline.org today. I'm Nancy O'Dell. For all of us here at Crime Exposé, please join us next time and stay safe.